Here.
Commissioner Howell.
Here.
Commissioner Nicely.
Here.
Commissioner Mass.
Here.
Commissioner Zender.
Here.
Commissioner Hagedorn.
Here.
Chairman Coleman.
Here. Okay, we're gonna have Commissioner Hagedorn lead us in prayer and Commissioner Zender lead us in pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly come before you today. Please be with this county, be with this board as we do the people's business. I pray that you be with those suffering today. Pray that you lay your healing hand on them. Pray you be with our troops as they fight to keep us safe. And I pray, Lord, that you just be with everybody in this room. In your name I pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming out this morning. Most of us probably need an umbrella, but I'd rather be wet than freezing cold. Consideration for approval, I think we have to add personnel motions to the existing agenda. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion
The
to that.
agenda with the addition of personnel matters.
Okay. Support. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, do we have motion for January 26th regular board meeting minutes?
I'll make that motion, Matt. Support nicely.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. A review of Commissioner Milledge expense sheet should be coming around. Actually, I think we've got a copy of it in our email. If you guys have any questions on that, just contact one of us. Are there any elected officials or department heads that would like to comment this morning?
On first.
Okay, yeah.
All right, everyone. Rachel Portman with Lapeer County Animal Control. Last week, Animal Control had a really busy week. We went from 9 dogs in the shelter to 22 dogs in the shelter. So we are seeing a lot more dogs being surrendered by owners or usually abandoned by owners. We had 4 last week that were brought in as strays. We later found out the person that just brought them in was technically their owner. When that happens, that does change our process a little bit, because instead of just holding them for our stray hold of 4 days, now because we know who their owner is, we actually hold them for 10 days until they legally relinquish ownership to us. So now we have to hold on to those animals longer unless we can convince them to come into the office and sign them over and give us a little bit of history on the animal. We have 7 on stray hold right now. Everything else is available for adoption. There's 1 in foster and 1 in rescue. On Friday, we also assisted on DOA with Lapeer County EMS, Lapeer County Sheriff's Department. We took 2 horses, 3 dogs, and 3 cats, all of which were in pretty dire condition and needed some immediate veterinary help. The horses had really long hooves, they didn't see a barrier, they didn't need to be floated. One of the horses went to domestic rescues over on Cave Road just because she's never had halters, she's not rideable, she's never been in a trailer. So getting her off that property was a task. I do want to thank a deputy because he went above and beyond what I expected when we went to that call. On Friday, it was really, really cold out. It was super windy, pretty temps. We're trying to get these animals off the property as quickly as possible to get them cared for, trying to find rescues and resources, super last minute for the weekend. The deputy called, these are fire for me, and he arranged for water to drop us in the trough so I could leave that animal overnight while I made arrangements to get a trailer there. And then because the property was icy and snow covered, he also called road commission and had that property plowed for me that I could get trailers in and out of there on Saturday morning. So I do want to shout out Deputy Osborne, because he went above and beyond what he had to do for animal control, and I'm extremely grateful that he did, because it made my job so much easier. We were already stressing, trying to find fosters and rescues and resources to get those animals out of that home. So he did an absolutely fantastic job.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions
Any
for me?
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Are any other elected officials or department heads who would like to comment this morning? Okay, was this to the first public time? Is anybody from the public who would like to comment? First public time this morning?
Good morning, Carol Winder, Pine Township. I think the words that have been overly stated this week are, I don't recollect, if you've been listening to any of these hearings. We heard that so many times. Township meeting last night in Marathon. I don't know if any of the other townships are working on this, but they're beginning to work on a solar zoning ordinance for solar farms or whatever. And it's interesting because it's like solar is coming, and it's like a Paul Revere thing, and they've been talking about it forever. And so you better get your ordinances in place, you know, so, because if you are ready, you don't have to get ready, as we all know, Quentin has told us. And it's, the interesting thing is, when they're gonna write these solar ordinances, but they're inviting the people who want the solar farm. Like, that's fine, but I think, you know, that's letting the fox in the hen house. So I think that's just something that we need to look in the future. When we're writing ordinances or we're writing whatever they are, we need to make sure that we're not doing that always. There needs to be, you know, more people invited to that party. This last week, a letter was written to Pfizer by representatives, and this letter was to the chairman of Pfizer, asking him to inform the public of the legitimacy of claims made against the company by Project Veritas. And I just have to say, I'm so pleased that these representatives are standing up. We also, my husband and I attended a rally in Kalamazoo at Pfizer this last week, I don't even know what day anymore, a couple days ago, and representatives showed up, health professionals showed up, and it was amazing. And it just inspires us that know all of the wrong that's been done. And I would just like to give I can't even, these representatives, Brad Paquette, Rachel Smith, Angela Regas, Alicia St. Germain, Pat Outman, Joseph Fox, Robert Bazzotti, I think, James DeSana, Matt Maddock, Jay DeBoyer, Gregory Markman, Ken Borton, Neil Frisky, Jamie Green, who is very near to us, Brad Slag, and Jamie Thompson. It's a Freedom Caucus, and I'm just so pleased that they're standing up for us. There was, by the way, this last week, there was a death by someone who used eye drops. You know how long it took for them to take those eye drops off the market? Immediately, one death, they took those off. And I'd like to, one of my friends who is a professional, health professional, if the chairman would let me approach, I'd like to give you her card if you'd like to pass those out. And white balloon, but don't fear, because it's been deflated, okay? And you know what, in this world, if we don't laugh, we're gonna cry.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol.
Welcome.
Hey, is anybody else from the public who'd like to comment this morning? Okay, move just to old business. Draft motions, committee of the whole motions. Do we want to go through these individually, or do we want to pass these all? I know we had talked about the last full board, and
I really prefer to do them all. For the public's perspective, they need to know what we're doing. Just pass a generalized motion saying we approve everything. Nobody knows what we're really doing. So I move on the first motion to get the ball rolling. That's to recommend to authorize the sheriff's department award a training grant for 2023 for the Sheriff's Coordinating and Training Council.
Hagan on support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Motion 2. Okay, motion. Move that.
Hagadon recommends to the full board to accept the MELF LHD staff well-being mini grant in the amount of $4,000 and no additional cost to the county general fund, and further to authorize the chair to sign said agreement.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Motion number 3.
I'll move that one, to accept the Region 10 prepaid inpatient health plan prevention services contract, MS 3 and 4, for $27,037. Your chair, vice chair to sign.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 4.
I'll move that, to approve and authorize the, excuse me, chair, vice chair to sign the renewal lease agreement between Lapeer County and Hamilton Community Health Network, and also to approve the request and increase the county allocation to community mental health by $1,404. Support reason.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, last one, number 5.
I'll move number 5. Motion by Zender, supported by Hamilton, to recommend the full board to accept the case evaluation award regarding the Whalen litigation.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. That moves us to Properties Committee. Commissioner Zender, do you want,
Sure.
not much there, but
So, make motion to, proceed with the purchase of Motorola radios from Procom Inc. to be paid from 911 millage, account number 482-325-977-00, for a cost of $27,020.58 at no additional cost to the county general fund.
Support Isley.
any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
If I can, just so the public's aware, the reason that we're buying these additional radios, with the sheriff's millage that, was approved, the extra staff that's gonna be on and stuff like that, we need more radios, so just so everybody's kind of got an idea of what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We vote? Yeah. Okay. We need to vote, I forgot. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Brings us to personnel. Commissioner Mass, you want to bring them in?
I'll go down through them one by one. Number 1 is a motion, to recommend to the full board to authorize the county treasurer to fill one vacant full-time land management clerk 2 position due to the recent unexpected passing of a longtime employee at no additional cost to the county's general fund. Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried.
Okay, motion number 2 is to recommend to the full board to authorize the sheriff's department to amend their table of organization to add or reinstate one additional full-time deputy position to meet department and public needs, as well as the subsequent vacancy should an internal promotion occur, to be funded by the law enforcement millage at no additional cost to the county's general fund.
I'll support that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, number 3, a motion to recommend to the full board to authorize the sheriff's department to amend their table of organization to add 1 additional full-time corrections officer position and 1 additional corrections sergeant position to meet department and public needs, as well as any subsequent vacancies should an internal promotion occur, to be funded by the law enforcement village at no additional cost to the county's general funds.
Take it on support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried.
Number 4, a motion to recommend to the full board to authorize the sheriff's department to amend their table of organization to create and add 1 new full-time finance manager position to meet department needs, as well as the subsequent vacancy due to an internal promotion to be funded by the law enforcement village at no additional cost to the county's general fund.
Support nicely.
Mr.
I have a
Mr. Hall?
question on that one. Who's doing the work now? We're creating this position as a finance manager. So how's it being handled currently?
So currently, they have 1 lady that is working on that, with the new village and the amount of money that's gonna generate every month or every year. They felt that this person that was doing multiple jobs really didn't have time to do that, so they wanted to put her in, this 1 position.
I'm just curious how we handle this. The millage money comes into the county and goes through us. So our finance manager deals with all that. And we appropriate it out like we just did on some of these positions. So what does their finance manager do?
She's going to manage, they have several different grants that they have in-house. You have the job description.
Yes.
You have the job description.
Yes.
So they're just going to eliminate her secretarial duties and just concentrate and focus on finance. And be honest, Gary, they needed to do this 10 years ago. So
I didn't hear what you said.
they needed to do this a long time ago. To have someone that just focused on finance. They actually had 4 clerks at one time and they're down to 2. So, yeah, and duties just got shifted to other people and things.
So currently it's basically a secretarial position where she's trying to do this work as well as.
Yes, yes.
And the reason they went from 4 to 2 was that during the recession?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody knows.
Yes.
Could we add language to approve the job description as well? That should have been in there.
Sure. Can you vote on it, adding the wording? Additional wording?
We'll just do it. and
Okay.
vote on it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Motion carried.
Okay, this is a motion to recommend to the full board to authorize the sheriff's department to amend their table of organization to add 1 additional road deputy position to meet department needs and public safety, as well as the subsequent vacancy should an internal transfer or promotion occur, to be funded by the law enforcement village at no additional cost to the county's general fund.
Hamilton support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 6, is a motion to recommend to the full board amend the table of organization for community mental health by eliminating the 1 full-time professional VA, formerly employment services lead staff position, and add or create a new full-time VA supervisor, employment services supervisor position, at the level, as well as any subsequent vacancy should an internal transfer or promotion occur at no cost to the county's general fund and contingent upon union concurrence, and further to approve the related job description for said position.
David,
Support.
any discussion?
I would like to discuss this a little bit. I have just some more information I would like to get before we move forward on this. This is a position that is, this department, there's three people that work in this department, and they're creating a new position, which is a manager's position, and this manager's position will be over 2 people. And I'm not fully aware of what the new responsibilities, how much of an added responsibility this person is gonna get. It's gonna be about $8,000 a year pay increase. And I'm not 100% sure what the added responsibilities are gonna be, or how many more hours this person's gonna be asked to work. I just have misgivings about this. It seems we get more and more and more money into these government entities, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just more and more money pumped into it. When we get more money, we create new positions, give everybody raises, and I have some misgivings about this kind of stuff. I think we should be very cautious on just allowing this type of stuff just to keep growing. This isn't our money, this is the taxpayers' money. Yes, it's not coming through the county's general fund, but it's still taxpayer money. So I would like to have some more information on this, as far as, what is the added workload? I'm all for giving people raises if they are working really, really hard and putting in a lot of extra time. And they need more money, they deserve it. But I don't have that information yet, so I'm just kind of.
Commissioner Howell?
I'm certainly sympathetic to the point of view. I don't know anything about the position. But obviously, it's our obligation to make sure the money's spent wisely. And if the commissioner wants to look into it more deeply, how would we table this matter until the next regular board meeting? We have time to do that.
I'll support that.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion tabled. Next one.
Okay, motion number 7 is a motion to recommend to the full board amend the table of organization for community mental health by eliminating the full-time triage MICCS clinician position and add or create a new triage MICCS clinician coordinator, or clinical coordinator, a master level, as well as any subsequent vacancy should an internal transfer or promotion occur at no cost to the county's general fund, and further to approve the related job description for said position.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
This looks like another, similar thing to motion 6, just a swapping of, titles. What's the difference between the clinician and what this clinical coordinator would be doing? Anybody know? Is it more responsibility to it?
CMH director is here, Chair, if he could be called up.
Sure, come on up, Lauren.
Yeah, this position would be a mid-level position that would supervise 5 clinicians. It resides in our emergency services department. We have 1 supervisor in that department. That department currently has 7 people, and then our outpatient department has 5 people. So what this would do is bring those outpatient people into our emergency services. This particular position would supervise those 5 outpatient people, plus would be available when our emergency services supervisors on vacation or out of town. And then also at CMH, what we're trying to do kind of with both of these positions is create some succession planning. So in the event that we lose a supervisor, we've got somebody in a mid-level position who's ready to step up if needed. You never know what life brings, and then having a person available for vacations and whatnot, so that when the supervisor's gone, they're not being disrupted, getting calls, that there's someone who can handle that.
Any more questions? So we have motion and support. We have All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you, Lauren. That brings us to notice of appointments needed. Pat Armad from Inman City Center who's seeking reappointment.
So moved.
Support.
Hanging on support.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, Emergency Management Advisory Council, new appointment, Stephen Kavner, citizen at large.
Hanging on, I'll move it.
I'll support it, Hamilton.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, we do have 2 vacant unexpiring terms. Anybody has any recommendations for those? No. We have 1 vacant position for Region 5 Planning.
Is the Region 5 planning position for public official, or is it just anybody at large? Anybody from public?
Good question.
I don't know, I'm not sure. We don't know.
Mr. Chairman, this is exactly what I was trying to bring up a couple weeks ago. 6 out of 7 of us are brand new. I fully admit I don't understand what every one of these committees does or who's on the committees now. We really need to be given a listing so we know who's on the committee, what the vacancies are, and what their duties are. Because I could probably find some in my district that may be interested. I'm not gonna go to somebody and say, hey, there's some committee, would you like to be on it? I think we've got to have
Can we give
more
them that?
information
Region
than just
5
a
is
list
the
on
one
the
that we have.
agenda.
North Branch,
Lynette,
superintendent.
the next time that these come up in 2 weeks, can we have more detail, whether it's a citizen at large or?
Try. I don't even know how to contact this. So.
Somebody needs to figure it out.
Um,
Agency here.
We were
Yes,
with,
they
we're
want us
looking
to
at, we're
participate.
looking at.
Yeah,
And there's some bureaucrat or whomever has it somewhere. So whoever has to dig it out, we really need it. Because I'm getting uncomfortable just voting for these things and not having a deep enough understanding.
Region 5 is either
Precisely
Kelly
what
from
we're asking
North
to do.
Branch or the superintendent, the retired
Thumb
superintendent.
Regional Community Corrections, anybody have a
Richard.
recommendation there? Mental Health Services Board, 3 positions expiring March 31st.
Mr. Coleman, can I address that briefly?
Yes.
In early February, and next week, I'll be providing the Board of Commissioners with a list of the current CMH board members. And then a list of the 4, there's actually 4 expiring positions coming up in April. The expiring positions are Mr. Coleman, Mrs. Kay Morris, Ms. Donna Shelton, and Mr. Rex Zebart. Now, the CMH board has requirements under the mental health code for certain categories of representation. So what we'll be providing to you is a confidential list that shows the areas of representation of each CMH board member. We're required to have 4 consumer or people who have received services on our board. So 2 of those have to be primary consumers, so they have to be identified as receiving services. And 2 of them can be secondary recipients, which means they have family members involved in services. All 4 of them could actually be primary, but you have to have at least 2 primary and you can have 2 secondary to fill in the gaps. So we'll be providing a grid that shows the areas of representation. There's also restrictions on the number of public officials that can serve on the mental health board. So I'll provide the section of the mental health code in that grid so that you can evaluate the positions and then be fully informed as to how you need to proceed to get the required representation.
Thank you very much. That's exactly the kind of thing we need.
This is important. Thank you for that. I noticed that the department head meeting was canceled for this week. Could we, in the future, get at the department head meeting if any of these department heads serve on a committee or in charge of a committee like Mr. Lauren here, they get you that information so that then it can be compiled. Because I'm gonna continue to beat the drum like Mr. Howell here. You know, I'm pointing to the LDFA board on our sheet. It says that they meet at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays when they actually meet at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. So we're dealing with outdated information here.
So I will be emailing that out to commissioners this coming week.
Lauren,
Yes,
just
sir.
one thing real quick. We had this application for Lori Curtis, which we already appointed her.
Yeah, that should.
I was confused when that came up last week, because her term actually expires in 24. So
Lynette, yeah.
You reconfirmed her appointment 2 weeks ago.
Earlier.
Okay,
she wasn't eligible for appointment.
okay.
You just
You
reconfirmed.
reconfirmed that she's on till 24.
So 2 weeks.
No, next year.
Yeah, we're good for a while.
So the appointments run through March 31st, so.
So these appointments that are expiring, and for people holding them expressed interest in continuing?
We will be covering that at our board meeting on February 16th. Well, that's usually in February is when I start getting my ducks in a row in terms of our chairs, you know, asking people who are interested in being reappointed, you know, so that if we have people that we know are resigning, we can let the commissioners know at least a month or so in advance that we need appointees. And then, you know, I can assist with appointees in various categories, or commissioners can also seek out people from their districts. So. But they, mental health board are appointees of the commission. So, you know, it's certainly your choice of who you appoint.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have a standard protocol if someone's appointment is expiring in 60 days? Do we reach out to those people? Because obviously I'm one of them that's expiring. I just got on the board. And had I known that this was going to be on here and I was one of them, I would have just submitted a new letter and reappointed myself. And that's one less position that we got to worry about. So do we reach out to these people whose their terms are expiring? That way we can say, hey, are you interested? That way we're not printing all these on here and then we're basically doing double the work.
I generally contact the department head I know is involved. For instance, community corrections. I sent an email. I've gotten no response about the Thumb Regional.
Okay.
That item. If I hear back, then I give you notice that I've heard.
Okay.
Otherwise, they do what Lauren does. He knows when his people are up. We communicate. I'm gonna put it on the agenda. He shows up with a recommendation. Jeff does the same for his committee and the emergency management committee as well. So that is my protocol. It's just been the way it's been done. The individuals, I do not reach out to them.
I think it would be in our best interest to maybe get their information and have somebody, that's just their job, maybe, possibly, just to make it a little more streamlined. Clerk Spencer?
I'd just like to comment, for instance, in my world, the Board of Canvas and the jury board, those are all involved with your appointments or approvals. And so I will let you know what their term is expiring and so on, because I know about that. That's something I'm involved with. It's just, it's a little awkward. I mean, Lynette's wonderful in reaching out and so on, but some of these areas, some of these boards, when we review the list, we don't even know where they are, actually. Brownfield development and all those sorts of things. So I think it's a wonderful suggestion to have a refreshed list, to know if they are active committees, to know if there's some kind of legislation that says who can serve. Like, for instance, in Board of Canvas and Jury Board, as Suzo's as an example, there's laws that govern how those people are able to apply for the position. So that's important for you to know, and I will be providing that to you closer to the expiration of any of those terms. In my world, those are overlapping kinds of things, so we have, seasoned people to help with the new appointees if we have new ones. So it's just, I think the list, and I was reviewing it with Lynette earlier this year, there's, one of the boards on there is called FIA. That name of that state agency has changed twice, since that was, and now it's DHHS board. I only know that because I used to serve on it. It started out as DSS board, then it was FIA, and it keeps name changing when Lansing gets different people in power over there. So it's definitely a great idea to refresh the list and really, for all of us to be educated about that it's an active committee and who's responsible to place the people on and get them promptly appointed, so there's not a lapse.
Great, thank you. Any other comments on this? Okay, I'd like to make an appointment of Carol Brown to the senior board for my district, which is District 1. And Carol is actually here if she'd like to come up and just introduce herself. A lot of people already know her, but some people don't. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Tom. I'm Carol Brown, Mayfield Township. He asked me to say a little bit about myself, maybe some of the things that I'm involved with. I'm part of Christian Motorcycle Association, which I wore my vest and my coat today, so everybody would know that. First of all, I'm a Christian. Second of all, I'm a conservative. I'm a precinct delegate for Mayfield Township Precinct 3, which led me to the Lapeer County Republican Party, which I'm on the executive board there. And Lapeer County Tea Party is where I began my political endeavor. I'm one of the directors there, and I'm on 2 intercessory prayer groups. Lived in Lapeer County 46 years. My kids all went to Lapeer schools and graduated. That's about it. Thank you for the appointment.
Thank you. Thank you for wanting to serve on the board. Okay. Commissioner Hall.
Good example. So she's in your district, so she's your appointee. What does that board do?
Senior board basically does all the,
I see at least 3 different senior things on our list of committees.
Yeah, so we had at least since I've been appointed to it, we had our first meeting Tuesday morning. And what it is we got an update on staffing, some of the activities like there's an arthritis activity now that's Meals on Wheels, got an update on that. So that's, and we meet right across the street there at the Senior Activity Center.
Great, I really appreciate everybody doing it. I just, because there's so many, there's the Valley Area Agency, there's the Senior Coalition, there's this, trying to figure out who does what exactly is the challenge. So it's an advisory board?
Yes.
Any questions?
So there is a millage, a senior millage that was passed, and that's advisory board. There is one, they will see that, correct?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
No.
I'm the chairperson of the senior advisory committee. We do not oversee the millage, you folks do. We're just an advisory. The senior programs director gives us an update. We provide feedback to the director, who is also underneath Kathy, the health officer. And then we just make recommendations back to her, who then would bring those recommendations to this board for your decision-making power. So like we said, it's an advisory, not an authority.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, ad hoc committee updates. I don't think we have anything there. Fiscal planning, budget discussion. Jackie, is there anything to report?
Nope, only if you have any questions.
Any commissioners have any questions?
You could get some updates from Merit. What was about that yesterday? Some feedback from Merit and entry point.
Right, after next Tuesday. I have another meeting set with Merit on Tuesday, February 14th. I do have some survey information if you were interested in hearing about that. We exceeded our, pardon me?
Oh, I'm sorry, the 10% deal.
Right, yeah, we exceeded, we wanted, our integral level was, I think, set at 5%, And in most townships, we've well exceeded that. Imlay Township and Imlay City are the only ones that were below 3%. But almost all of them, some of them are 10%. I don't have it up on my computer right here, but
And these figures are just a response to the survey?
from the survey,
Okay, just
yes,
keep them up.
yes. We're at 10%.
An average across
Overall,
the county? Or-
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So some areas are higher
Right,
than
right.
some, obviously.
Yeah, it's real low. And, the paper, I don't know if I had the update from the paper surveys when you and I spoke about it, Kevin.
You called on that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me pull it up here.
I'd just like to add one other thing. I know it's on the website. Several of my constituents said that they couldn't find it. That's why I asked. I couldn't find it. I know where it is now, but it takes 3 moves to get there, and you really need to delve into every page on that website.
Okay.
If we're gonna continue to do the survey and push it, we really need to put it on the first page on a large yellow block or
Right.
tile that says internet survey, so anybody going to the new website, which is awesome, by the way, can find it and see it right there. It's on the homepage.
Right. Yeah. So, I have a spreadsheet from Merit that, shows the response rate by township, and I can share that with you folks if you'd like. The only ones that are, below the 5%, Goodland Township, Burnside Township, and then, the last one is City of Imlay City, only 1%. Imlay Township, 2.83%.
Do you mind reading those off to like 18 years?
Okay, Dryden Township has responded at 18.82%. Hadley, 11.75. Oregon, 8.39. Lapeer Township, 7.81. Metamora Township, 7.57. Elba Township, 7.53. Deerfield Township, 6.85. Mayfield Township, 6.83. Marathon Township, 6.7. Almont Township, 6.69. Arcadia Township, 6.64. North Branch Township, 6.52. Attica, 6.44. Rich, 6.02. Burlington, 5.73. City of Lapeer, 5.22. Goodland, 4.27. Burnside, 4.09. Imlay Township, 2.83. City of Imlay City, 1.17.
Is this broadband survey still open for people to take?
The online, I'm not sure they're taking any more paper ones, but our overall response rate is 10.62.
So Hadley obviously sticks out.
Yes.
Were all these areas mailed evenly, so there's no reason?
Yes, we
don't have
even
any
sent
skewed
extra.
numbers for-
We sent extra to Goodland and Burnside. The only thing, we didn't send out a Hispanic version.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, you got a question?
Yes, Commissioner Hall.
I have 2 questions. One is, what is this a percentage of? Is this the total population? What's the
Households, Gary.
Households.
Yes,
So somebody in that household responded.
yes.
Okay. Second question is, what's the significance of this? What do we do with this?
We provide that to the grants that we want to apply for. Like we sent some initial feedback to NTIA when we applied for that in September of last year. We had to guesstimate, obviously. When the BEAD grant comes out next year, we'll be providing this information. Because what they responded to, the questions on the survey, that actually tests your speed at your home of what kind of internet service you actually have at your house. And we need to prove to the FCC that, a certain percentage of our homes have slower than 5 megabytes of internet service.
So
The
does
speed.
this survey prove that?
Yes.
So everybody who responded said our
Yeah.
service is lousy or?
Well, no, the city of Lapeer is going to be completely different than Hadley or anywhere else. So, and I would imagine the city of Imlay City is different, but we don't know. We don't have the response back from them. But I can tell you, why is that not coming up? we had a large percentage of paper survey responses. Out of that 10%, 4.19% were paper survey responses. And you just assume that they don't have internet service at all. That's half, almost half. That's a lot.
I just had two comments. So the FCC map that they put out that says that everybody has all this great internet service shows Lapeer pretty much maybe 95% covered.
Right.
Certainly not true. As a result of the survey is kind of, pointing out the fact that, hey, there's a lot of inaccuracies. So we're actually challenging the FCC's findings to, to qualify for the coverage that they say that we have that we don't have.
Right.
And that we need to have here, and that's kind of motivating some of these efforts here with this broadband initiative. Do you have any figures? I know I asked you yesterday, you mentioned something about we don't know how many businesses responded to the survey.
Merit has a presentation for you folks that'll tell you that like households with children in the home, businesses in the home, or yes, we do have that information. Merit just isn't prepared to present it. When do you guys want them present? Do you have a?
Whenever they're ready.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information we gotta have here.
Right.
At the beginning of this was punted over to us from the previous.
Right,
administration.
absolutely, absolutely.
And it's moving goalposts. We talked about that yesterday. There's a lot of moving parts in this. And there's a lot of information we need to hear.
Okay.
From the public and from Merit and from Entry Point and from, our own,
Mike Bartley, right.
And then there's Chuck Madden, Dan Allen, that did the ISD back when they originally put the internet, the fiber line. We've been there for the ISD back in the 90s, I believe, sometime in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people we need to hear from. It'd be nice to get them all in the room at the same time so we can, get that information out. And if there's any challenges between somebody's opinion and the others, and we could have a Q&A.
Right, absolutely. We can do an educational meeting. You just need to set a date and invite the players.
You might want to reiterate, we talked about that, we didn't qualify for the Robin Grant.
We are not eligible to submit for the Robin Grant. Local governments are not eligible to submit. You have to be an ISP provider.
So what happens then if we get one grant? What we apply for a grant, we get one, we don't get all, we don't get enough grants to do the project. What happens then? Do the grants get sent back? We don't have enough, or do we do a partial project, or?
Well, we need to plan for that.
Right.
We can accept the grant and then not use the money, send it back. We won't know until March, maybe even April, whether we got the one that's coming directly from the federal government. The Robin grants, their deadline to submit those is March 31st. You have to be a ISP, a provider, to submit for that grant. So it's going to be a year before they know. There's a third bucket of money that we're not going to be able to apply for until, they're saying this fall, but we're expecting it's not going to be until next spring. So the one that we applied for is the middle mile. It's coming straight from the federal government, and we applied for 10 million, and it's a matching grant. We had to match our 3%, which we have put into a construction fund. That's 13 million. The Robin grant that the providers are submitting for right now, that's for the last mile. That's taking it to the house. We're doing the middle mile. We're talking about the middle mile where we get it, that rectangle that Quentin always talked about. And then the ISPs will be building off of that rectangle. We would submit for, if we're allowed to submit for the BEAD grant at the end of this year or early next year. We would use that money. And we kind of slowed down on spending ARPA money. The projection was 35 million for the project, for the middle mile project, when we started this a year ago.
For the middle mile.
For the middle mile part. So we, the Robin grant or the NTIA grant is 10 plus our 3 that we had to match. We don't know what the BEAD money will be, and we have set aside at least $10 million of ARPA money.
For the broadband? Okay, because I asked that in an
Yes.
email,
Yes.
and you said that there were $0
Well,
set aside.
Well, we just stopped spending, basically. We didn't actually do a board motion. You guys haven't actually done a board
Right.
motion
So there's
saying that.
technically no money set aside for the broadband.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said there was 13
Officially.
million in an account, in a construction account?
There's 3 million in a construction account right now, because that's the matching for the grant that we applied for September of 2022. There was a 3% matching, so we applied for 10 million. We put our 3 million into the construction fund.
Okay, because when you gave me the statistics, you said that around 2 million were spent in 2022.
Oh, the ARPA
And
money.
then there was a line item for 3.7 that was earmarked, but there was nothing by it, so I would.
Right, it's just encumbered. I mean, we've got cabling projects, we've got
Okay.
HVAC systems in there, and I included the 3 for parks that you guys are talking about.
Okay. So it's not just for the broadband.
Right, that 3.7 was the other projects, and then remaining, what was it, 10.4? 11, okay, 11.4, okay.
Okay.
So I want to go back to, you said the paper surveys that came in, you just assumed that there's no internet. How come?
Correct. Because they don't have an internet service to do the survey online.
Most of them called our office and the administration and pretty much told us their stories of they have not enough service, or they've attempted to do the online and couldn't connect because they don't have enough service. We received many, many calls.
The actually Merit was floored that we had that many paper responses. They were expecting a few hundred, not 1,600.
Could it be they just don't simply have internet at their house?
Right, they don't have internet at their
I don't
house.
have cable at the house, so I just don't pay for it.
Right.
I want to make sure that everything's kept in perspective. It's not, if 1,000 people responded on paper, they say they don't have service, doesn't mean that they can't get it. How many of those actually just don't want to pay for it? So that's just want to make sure that we're not being.
And I also want to make sure that we understand that this, even if this whole internet crisis were to happen, it's not free internet.
No.
It's not gonna be free. You still have to hook up to it, you still have a monthly bill. I think sometimes this stuff gets put out there as though, oh, we're gonna put internet broadband across the entire country, our county, and it's gonna be free, like.
No. No.
We have never.
I know that.
Never uttered those words.
I know that, but I'm just saying, a lot of times these things get, I know that, nobody ever did, but I'm just saying, I just wanted to clarify, this is not gonna be free.
Availability, you have internet. There's a lot of areas in the county that just are not available.
Right.
Period.
Commissioner Hamilton.
It's been the number one issue when I've been talking to people. My own township board in Lapeer Township brought up how important this is that we do something for internet for this county. It's terrible. So with this internet project, I think we need a committee to specifically handle this issue. I don't know if we can create that committee now, or if we have to do it in committee of the whole, but I would like to leave that. So I have a background and a degree in information technology.
Well, I think once we get some more information, we can move forward with that.
One thing I just wanted to add is, I know Whitten in his town hall on the website there, if you link into it, mentioned somebody asked a question about how long this is gonna take to actually get internet in some of these areas. One of the areas I used to live in where it's just horrid, it's Metamora. I was lucky to get 2 or 3 megabyte download on a good day. That's worse than dial-up. But in reality, this is a 10-year, maybe 12 or 13-year project. That time we get North Branch internet. And the term being brought to the home, I think really what the final mile is bringing internet to the property, pedestal to the home is something that the homeowner has to pay for. If you live a half mile out, and a lot of people do, off the road, they're not gonna, we're not gonna us who run that service to the house, I guess. But there's a lot of things to consider. I'm really getting a lot of information. I'm gonna share it with the entire board here and everybody that's on the email. of the information I've been collecting here, because there's just a lot.
There is a lot.
And before we make any decisions here, we gotta realize that in 10 years, if it's gonna cost 30 million today, it's gonna cost 60 million in 10 years, just from inflation.
Well, if we keep putting this off, we don't start any kind of infrastructure, nobody's gonna have.
We gotta make sure we have the
Even in 10
dollars to pay
years.
for it, though, who's gonna pay us freight, you know, if we don't have the money available. you know,
So-
we get it.
So if the feds decide that we received that grant for $10 million in March or April, whenever they decide, we're not gonna get that money in March or April. They're not gonna send us that money. First, we have to spend our $3 million, and then they're gonna send us that money, I don't know when,
In
not right away.
10 years, when this is all said and done, the new technology's out there, this is all obsolete. So,
There's always that possibility. But I agree with Bill, I mean, you know, it'd be nice to be able to do something, you know, I mean, it's hard, I mean, you know, I couldn't sell my house to some potential buyers because the internet didn't exist. But it was awful for the buyer. People coming out here to move from the city, they want internet. You know, that's, as utilities just as important anymore as gas and electric. You know, so I understand, you know, I mean, we got kids that are learning from home, we have companies that are forcing their employees to work from home on Zoom, and you can't stream anything. When you have the kind of service that I had over in Metamois, just half a mile outside town.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to set expectations for the public. Even if we get this project going, it's not something where you're gonna have internet to your house tomorrow. They are right, this is going to be a multi-year project. There's a lot of construction, a lot of engineering, permitting, as Mr. Howell brought up in the last meeting, right-of-ways to actually lay fiber. So it is going to be an undertaking, so I just want to make sure the public has their expectations set that even though we get this going, you're not gonna have internet tomorrow.
And I do agree with Bill, and I would propose, and we would have to obviously look at this, but I propose it as an ad hoc committee.
Yes.
Not a standing committee, but an ad hoc committee.
Great. Okay, moving on to audit motions. We have a county audit motion for disbursements on February 10th, and then road commissioner's audit motions for disbursements dated February 9th. Do we have a motion?
I make the motion to vote the county audit motion.
We pass them together, correct, Lynette? Okay. Do you have a motion to pass the county audit and road commission?
I'll make the motion to do both county and road commission.
Support. Any discussion?
I was under on support.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Howell,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicely,
Yes.
Commissioner Mast,
Yes.
Commissioner Zender,
Yes.
Commissioner Hagnon,
Yes.
Chairman Cohen.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to our second public time. Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment in the second public time? Morning.
Jerry Koch, Lapeer Township, a couple points I'm gonna cover today. One about the internet service. I'm glad that we're trying to work on that. Problem with the online surveys, I mentioned this last year, is it's good when it's on, you know, so I test the link, it will say you got 25 megabytes, that's really good service, except when you don't have service. And then it doesn't indicate that. And there's no way that the merit people know that you don't have service in that particular time. So you can't record or document. There should be some way that merit is made aware of that. And that's why we have such a high rate of paper surveys, because the internet service, even though you might have it 75% of the time, well, that means the other times you don't have it. And you never know when that happens. The other point I want to discuss is the discussion about the notices of appointments needed. It'd be nice if on the new website, there was some sort of link available to the public, so the public would know after there's some sort of compilation of what appointment needs filled where, who gets it. Like, for example, when I went and checked out the minutes for the Region 5 planning one out in, Genesee County, Shiawassee and all, it was indicated that former Commissioner Gary was excused from the January 24th meeting. Well, I really don't think he was expected to go there. It might have been one of you guys, but again, there's some sort of disconnect going on there when it comes to the appointment. So hopefully we'll get that squared away soon. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to comment during the second public time?
Alan Pierce, Hadley Township. Since the onset of the surveys being taken from home, I have not personally counted times that I've logged on to that system. Well over 200 times at various times of the day, the night, and on various days of the week. My best reception, according to that survey, at my home was 2.3. That's the best during all these times. The worst was I cannot give you a number because I log on, and as it's doing its little tracking thing, it times out because it's so low, and I've got such a low reception that it just quits. So I go back on 10, 15 minutes later, and sometimes I'll get the same results. Sometimes it'll be like a 1.2, 1.3 reception. So I'm doing, and when this initially came out last year, it was suggested that each household do this at various times of the day. And so we have good data to move forward to the federal government. And so that's what I've been doing since that. And I do live in a area of Hadley Township that is known for having very, very poor reception. I could only find one carrier when I moved into my home that actually provides what I get now. So, you know, I could do the satellite thing and pay, I think it's $2,000 to $3,000 or to $4,000 to get it put in and all that good stuff. And that's an alternative out where I live. But they can't guarantee any better reception once I do it. So why spend that money? I'm not asking for the county to pay my way. I'm not asking for free. I don't expect free. But I do see the benefit long-term to the county as it was proposed initially. We will have service providers coming to us to rent space off of our hubs once we have it set up for the county. I had one internet service provider, Spectrum, calling me on my phone several times, wanting me to invest in them, bringing it to my home from miles away, because they have other people that were willing to invest, other residents. But again, you know, I knew this was going on, and I'm willing to wait. I mean, my money is precious to me. I'm a retired person. You know, I'm living on a certain income. So that's my situation on that subject. Also, just as a reminder, we asked Bonnie to be here today from Lapeer, from Inlay City, because she wanted to be reappointed, and she's back there and she wasn't called for the senior board. Just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carolyn, Marathon Township. I know when the internet, the whole project was proposed, Quinn talked a lot about competitive. That it would be competitive, the folks that would be the providers. And it seems like I've heard a little bit more about the government, you know, coming in and, you know, we all know that there's the strings attached every time we accept money. I'm sorry, it's everywhere. Schools, townships, excuse me, there are strings attached. Anyway, I think that that's something we need to have our eyes opened on. I don't think that we should if we accept this grant, that the government comes in and says, well, this is who's gonna provide this, and it's gonna be this person, and then none of these other providers are gonna be competitive. That's wrong. I think that should be competitive, and I just don't like this whole control the government has on everything. I hope you're going into this with open eyes, and I would hope that you would reject it, but that's what comes down the pipe. Also, thankful for Carol Brown being our new rep in our district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to comment during second public time?
Good morning. My name is Rose Navarre and I'm from Attica Township. First of all, I wondered, could that survey, I did mine so long ago, could we ask them to do it in the schools? Could the students do it? Because that's a huge population. I don't remember how it went. Do you have to be in your home when you do it?
Yes,
You do.
yes.
Well, ask the kids to go home, because they're the ones who are crying, I have kids, that they don't have good service. So maybe put a note out to the schools to ask them to tell the kids to go home and do it. I don't know, it's just a thought to reach a mass amount of people. And the other thing I'd like to bring up is, a lot of you are aware of the issue we're having with our library, that there's a good amount of inappropriate books in the library. And we're asking people, and I know a lot of you are aware of this, but I'm letting the public know that these are really inappropriate books. There's a meeting at the library on February 16th at 5:30. If you don't know where the library is, it's on Nipissing. But it's on February 16th, and we're just asking that the public go and research what's going on. And that's at the Lapeer Library, and I question if they're there, that they're at the other libraries also. So if people have time to go look in their local libraries, to just make sure that these books are not being circulated there also. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to comment during the second public time? Mr. Pierce, you had mentioned that Bonnie was here seeking.
Yeah, I was gonna speak to that, Jerry.
Okay, because we didn't get any.
I had said something to Bonnie on Tuesday at the meeting. We had already voted on her to come on up during public time. So then that way she could introduce herself, because she's not on today's agenda. She's already been on the agenda. So she'd like to come on up.
Sure. Bonnie, would you like to come up to the podium?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I'm not Bonnie.
Oh,
No.
I'm sorry.
My name is Pat.
Pat.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Pat Arnott, and I am a representative of the Emily City Senior Center. I've done it for the last 2 years. I'm not very politically involved. I am an election official for Emily City. I do belong to the VFW and the American Legion. I'm active in both of those auxiliaries, and I'm an officer at the Emily City Eagles, so I do get out amongst the public a lot and know what's going on. So I know that we don't have you haven't appointed anybody. There was 2 of us coming last year. And I saw on the roster that we got at the meeting, your spot is blank, you haven't got anybody.
For Emily City.
Yeah.
Region 5 or District 5?
7.
Well, the districts have all changed now.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just reading what you had on there.
Yeah.
I don't have the paper with me, but
So 7 now is Elmont Dryden.
Oh, no.
And Truman is Emily City, Attica,
Okay.
Arcadia.
Well, then you're the one that hasn't appointed anybody.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Dufour sat next to me. That's from his district at the meeting on Tuesday.
Oh, the minister.
Yes,
the pastor.
yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, it just wasn't written down. I didn't realize it, but I'm happy to be a part of all. But I love the seniors in Emily City. I used to go there when I was younger with my parents, and they need somebody to speak for them. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess that being said, is Stephen Kavner here? Since we reappointed him also. Okay, anybody else from the public would like to comment during the second public time?
Carol Brown, Maple Township, and I just want to give a shout out to the senior center because my husband and I did participate probably about 4 years ago in the arthritis exercise class, and it was very beneficial. So I'm glad to see that it's still functioning, and maybe I'll take advantage of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to comment? Okay, we're gonna close the second public time, move on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Howell, you want to start and work this way?
Okay, just two comments. I attended two meetings, I haven't commented on one. It's a little bit of thunder because one Brad was with me and one you were. But anyway, we had a meeting at Lapeer County Collaborative last week, and it was extremely helpful. They covered Peter McCready from Chatfield School, covered a lot of the park activities in the county, trails around the city, the river canoeing, kayaking areas we got throughout the county that they worked on. It's really a great compliment to our own county park system. I was very impressed. The other meeting I went to was yesterday with Commissioner Coleman. He and I are on the Veterans Affairs Board, and I think the key thing there was some very dedicated veterans are on that board. They obviously care deeply about their fellow veterans and the programs they're working on. Again, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Just Friday, I had the opportunity to spend 10 hours with Deputy Craig Cummings. Some of you may know him as Craiger, doing a ride along with the Sheriff's Department. It was pretty eye-opening, I must admit, the amount of teamwork that goes in and what our deputies do deal with on a nightly basis, especially a night like a Friday night. But at their 7 p.m., I don't know if it's called briefing or, anyways, it's an informational meeting about at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. They do it twice a day. And all the officers there wanted me to encourage all 6 of you to do a ride along with them. They highly encourage that, and I would encourage you guys to do that. So that's all that I've got.
Commissioner Nicely?
I really don't have enough that I haven't already said about the internet and talking about the concerns that I have going forward is we don't want to create a monopoly and have one ISP on a network for our platform for us. And if you listen to some of the testimony from the House Intelligence Committee that's been here this last week in regards to Twitter and the Hunter Biden laptop cover up, and you'll watch some of the video that's out there from the Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Controlling free speech. If we get we get Spectrum on our network, and they're the only ones that are allowed on it, and they just decided, like AT&T and DirecTV has recently, to remove Newsmax from their channel lineup, because they don't like what they're saying. I think that Pierce has brought this up too. I think we're really setting a bad precedent in our in our country here by shutting down free speech. We're already dealing with that. And that's a concern that I have as we dove into this internet issue here and moving forward, is that there is competitiveness, and we do allow and are able to allow and make sure certain that we allow competition on the network going forward. Because these are ideological things. If they don't like what we're saying, they can easily use that to play against us and remove content and shut down free speech. This is going to become a larger part of our lives and our kids' lives and our grandkids' lives as we move forward, just like utilities are. So you really need to pay close attention to what's going on.
Thank you. I just have 2 things. As one of the members from the public pointed out, the books in the library, excuse my voice is bad. The books in the library, it's a serious situation. It's not, I know we all think, oh, it can't happen in Lapeer, but we've seen the books. They've got the public library's sticker on them. They were found in the children's section, and so it's here. And we need to be made aware of this kind of thing, and we need to take it seriously. And that for the people that are possibly living in denial to think it can't come to Lapeer, well, it's in the library. So it needs to be dealt with, and we need to be made aware. On a lighter note, Marathon Township, I was at a board meeting last night. This is Wayne and Mark can attest to. they have a pretty good plan on repairing the roads. They had a big billboard or like a poster board set up with how they want, they had the roads graded from green to red, which ones were in dire need. Some of the roads were 15 years past their expectation. But they are gonna focus on repairing those roads. So government is working, it is slow, but there's progress. So that's it. Commissioner Mass?
This whole internet thing, very, very complicated, very, in-depth, a lot of two sides to every story. I just want to take everybody's memory back to before the Affordable Care Act passed and how hard it was to get health insurance and how expensive it was. And then remember how cheap it got when the Affordable Care Act got passed and how available it was, how amazing that was, how great that was. Well, that's what happens when you get the government providing a service for everybody. So just imagine how cheap and available the internet will become once the government starts providing internet for everybody too. It's gonna be great. Just wanna throw that out there.
Commissioner Zender?
I sure hope that was sarcasm. Otherwise, I might know what you had for breakfast.
What's up?
Yeah, I mean, at no time did we ever plan, or at least the previous board, was there ever any talk of not making this an open network where multiple carriers could come on and provide service? I mean,
Yeah, I think the point was that states changed the rules.
Right, I understand the rules change, okay, but that was never, ever,
I understand.
the intent of the previous board, I can assure you that. In regards to Chief Horton's thing, I'd like to also say kudos to multi-departments working together to do a good job. EMS and the police and the fire department and animal control, that's the way it's supposed to work. So kudos to all that participated in that, and it was a absolutely horrible situation. And we definitely need to make sure that if our neighbors are not having the basic necessities in life, we need to make sure that there's, at least it's known, and we can try to get them services through the proper channels. Because the way that lady was living was just absolutely horrible, and the system completely failed on that one. So that's all.
Commissioner Hamilton?
This internet issue, all that we're looking to do is build the main infrastructure for the county. The idea is we got to get the main ring for the county put in, then we bring in ISPs to compete to provide service to the homes. Nobody from Lapeer County government is going to be spying on your mother's meatloaf recipe that you're looking up online or whatever. So the idea that it's going to be government control is not the case. We're just providing the main backbone so the service can be provided by ISPs. And no, we're not giving you free internet. You are going to have a monthly bill. I think it's going to be great for people in this county and working from home, economic development in the future. And I like that we're going to approach it by giving people hopefully choices in their service providers. I'm fortunate to have high-speed internet in my house, but I only have one provider, and that's Spectrum. And there are days that I would really like to tell them to take their service and put it somewhere, but I can't. So I'd really, it's gonna be an open, if the plan is to have it be an open network with multiple providers. And government's not, we are not gonna be spying on your computer, so just want to say that.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Just need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Meeting adjourned.